So January 29th, 2017 was a very tragic day for our community. Many people in our community were so impacted that they were actually scared to go to the mosque afterwards. I know my mom was. Some people were scared of sending their children to school. And this feeling of being targeted deeply impacted this community across the country, 1.5 million people in our community, and that's a terrible thing for that many people to feel. So as Premier, what practical steps would you take to ensure that something like this never happens in Ontario?
So I think that, I mean, this is an ongoing issue, and it's such a tragic thing. It's such a, it's such a sad development, and I wish I could say we can guarantee that it will never happen again. We can't guarantee that. We have to be vigilant, and so I think the first step is acknowledging. And so when this horrible thing happened, I went to the vigil, and I think that as leaders in the community, we all have to do that. We have to acknowledge. We have to name the incident and name the tragedy for what it is, and then we have to take steps to work to eradicate the racism, because that's what Islamophobia is. It's racism against a particular group of people. And so we have set up the Anti-Racism Directorate, and it's through that directorate that we are looking across government at all of our policies. We're empowering hospitals, schools, the government to gather statistics, to gather data, so that we understand better what the scope of the problem is, and then make sure that as we make investments and we put programs in place, that they are targeted at the communities that need the most support. And that means public education, making sure that there's education about what Islamophobia is, how it has an impact on people, and then putting protections in place.
What does that look like? When we say that we're making sure that's embedded in these programs, practically, what does that look like for you?
Well, it means that agencies that do this work in the community get support. So if there's an agency that works in Black communities to help with a better understanding of what's happening in the Black community or in the Muslim community, that we support those agencies with funding. With funding. I mean, that's the reality, is that agencies that are doing this work and that are working to increase awareness, they need funding, and so that's what our anti-racism strategies are about.
And so supporting those communities and organizations, that's part of the Anti-Racism Directorate?
It's part, it's part of the Anti-Racism Directorate's mandate, is to find ways to support organizations that are promoting equity and are promoting anti-racism work.